Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Writing Black Joy. I'm Sophia Robinson, and I'm a storytelling coach and an editor and the producer of Writing Black Joy, a virtual space centering, celebrating, and promoting the voices of Black writers and storytellers with joyful and uplifting stories. I started Writing Black Joy to inspire Black writers and storytellers to tell joyful and uplifting stories in every possible way. Here, you'll find inspiration if you are a writer or a storyteller, as well as tips and strategies for writing poetry, blogs, creative nonfiction, fiction, plays, starting podcasts, and so much more from all types of writers, as well as a sneak peek into the writing life. You will also learn more about their work and mine and what joy we are all bringing into the world these days. You can even find your next favorite writer, book, poem, play, or blog. I started this project because I had a desire to read more books and writing by Black writers with joyful themes and characters, and I knew I could not be the only one. I wanted to read and hear stories that made me proud to be a Black woman. I wanted the world to hear those stories and begin to believe we are capable of being more than just victims and instead showcase our triumphs, our joys, and the full range of our experiences. I thought about all the types of books I enjoyed reading and what made me happy, and I was sad that almost none of them centered stories of Black characters written by Black authors. As I began to write and self-publish my own books, I discovered some of these stories are definitely out there, but they may not be as accessible or as easy to find by Black readers, and that is where I got the idea for this project. I wanted to create a space for these authors to share stories, excerpts from their book, poetry, features, and uplifting creative nonfiction. I wanted to be able to build a readership for these authors and a desire to read more of these types of stories, as well as an appetite for joyful stories by and about Black people. I wanted to expand the platforms of Black authors as a whole, but particularly those with joyful and uplifting stories. I want to make it more possible that these stories are read. I want these authors to be published, whether it's traditionally or self-published. I want them to build the confidence and the courage to know that these stories are necessary and will be read and heard. I want young readers and writers to write more of these stories, to read more of these stories. And I want these stories to give us all hope and to change the narrative around living in the skin that we are in. I want to create the type of representation that I grew up with in the Caribbean in the stories that we tell and read. Positive representation, joyful representation. I want all stories to be told, and I can't tell them all. So this project is about highlighting some of the stories of my favorite people who are authors, journalists, bloggers, poets, playwrights, content creators, and so much more. I hope that you love learning about them and reading and leaning into their work as much as I did. I hope that you get inspired to write your own joyful stories too. And by the way, if you feel a desire to tell those stories, but you don't know where to start, I can help with that. As a storytelling coach and editor, I work with clients who want to bring those joyful stories into the world. So you can actually just go over to my website, www.sophiarobinson.com, and check it out. In the meantime, let's dive into Writing Black Joy. You can find the whole of season 1 on www.writingblackjoy.com, and season 2 drops February 2022. Watch, listen, and enjoy, and I hope that it inspires you to tell your own joyful stories. Happy writing, and I send you big love from a small island.